All right. Hello. This is Caitlin, and I will have her introduce herself as well.
Hello, my name is Caitlin Baran.
And Caitlin, how old were you when you were diagnosed with CBS?
I was about 8 or 9 when I was diagnosed with CBS.
And how long did you, were you having episodes before that? So how long have you had it?
Yes, so I started having episodes when I was about 3.5, and I've had it for about 33 years.
Okay. And do you still have issues with CBS?
So in the last 17 years, my episodes have really switched to migraines. I get both migraine headaches and also ocular migraines, and several times a year I wake up with abdominal pain and nausea and think that I'm going into an episode, but usually I don't throw up. So my episodes have really changed as I've gotten older.
And can you describe when you were younger and your CBS was more active, can you describe a typical episode?
So a typical episode started late at night or early in the morning. And when I was going into an episode, I noticed that my saliva would get thicker. Also, I had abdominal pain and nausea.
And how long did your symptoms usually last for you?
So when I was younger, my episodes usually lasted anywhere from 2 to, I think, 10 days was the longest. Usually somewhere about 5 to 7 days was the usual length of an episode.
Wow, that's a lot of days. And so,
Yeah.
did you miss a lot of school when you were younger?
Yeah, I missed a lot of school. I think first grade through probably fourth grade were the grades that I missed the most school in. And a lot of most of my episodes when I was younger required me to be in the hospital.
And was your school pretty willing to work with your parents on getting you caught up with your schoolwork when you missed so much school?
Yes, I think it was mostly after I was diagnosed with cyclic vomiting syndrome. And then I was able to have, I think it was the 504, like I kind of like an IEP. And so anytime I missed school, then over the summer, because I didn't get sick as much over the summer. So over the summer, I would have a tutor come and work with me and help me catch up on schooling that I had missed throughout the year.
Nice. That's good your school was willing to work with you. Do you remember, since you were only 8 or 9, were there other things that you were diagnosed with before you were diagnosed with CBS?
Um, I can't remember. I know I went through a whole bunch of testing that didn't show anything. So, but I can't remember if I was diagnosed with anything before CBS.
And do you remember from some of your worst episodes, what was one symptom that you wished you could get rid of?
I would say the symptom that I wish I could get rid of was the nausea.
Nausea. And did you have, when you were a child, did you have the nausea outside of your typical episodes, or was it just surrounding the episode itself?
No, it was just during the episode itself.
Okay. And tell us how you feel like CBS impacted your childhood.
Um, I feel like I missed out on, well, I definitely missed a lot of school. So I missed a lot of learning different things and kind of like being like a typical kid, experiencing different things like going to sleepovers and stuff. I mean, I did go to a couple sleepovers, but I mean, it was tough because like I never knew when I was gonna get sick and like, um, so I think that kind of held me back um, on doing some typical kid things.
Yeah, I'm sure. And do you feel like you ever um lost friends because of it?
No, but I feel like I was kind of like treated differently in school because of it. So when I would miss school and then like be out of school for a week and then come back, like everyone in my class like kind of like flocked around me and they're like, "Oh, why were you out of school?" and everything. So I kind of felt like, I don't know, people were more attentive to me, which I really didn't like. So
Hmm. Yeah, I remember my son never wanting anyone to ask him why he was
mm,
gone.
yeah. And then
Um,
they would ask me, like, what it felt like to be dehydrated, and I was like, "Listen, I don't wanna talk about this, like, I'm just
yeah,
glad to be back, and it wasn't fun."
yeah. Well, that's good that you were able to say that to, to the kids in your class, because it is really hard, I think, sometimes for kids to be able to express, like, I just don't
Mhm.
want to talk about it. Don't ask me about it. I'm back. And that's all that matters, right? And do you remember, um, sorry, let me rephrase that. What would you, knowing what you know about having CBS, what would you tell someone that's new to the journey of CBS or newly diagnosed?
I would probably tell them, to not lose hope and also to get connected with, the Cyclic Vomiting Syndrome Association because, the CVSA has wonderful resources and, um, it's just helpful to know that you're not alone or that your family member isn't alone, and it helps to get connected with other people who know, what it's like to have it.
Yeah, I'm sure that was probably a good support system for your
Mhm.
parents as well. Let's talk a little bit about CBSA. I know you had mentioned your parents were involved kind of towards the beginning, actually,
Mm.
of CBSA's um, life as an organization.
Yes.
So, how did do you know how your parents found CBSA?
I believe my mom found out about CVSA through the National Organization of Rare Diseases, and I think she found at the time the president was Kathleen Adams, and so
Hmm.
she got in touch with Kathleen Adams, and then from there we got connected with CVSA.
Very nice. Yeah, I believe Kathleen actually put out like an ad almost in the National Organization of Rare Disease,
Mhm.
like their magazine or something like that. And
Mhm.
I believe that's kind of how the organization was founded, is from
Mhm.
finding that group, handful or two of families that ended up founding the organization. So that's really
Mhm.
great that your parents happened upon that and were able to find that. And did your family attend any CBSA events ever, like the conference or the walk or anything like that?
Yeah, so when I was younger, I attended several conferences. I attended one in Chicago and one in Indianapolis, and I also attended like a more regional, small conference in Maryland. And so it was really nice to like be able to meet other at the time I was a kid. And so it was nice to be able to meet other kids who had CVS as well and like knew what I was going through and just being able to connect with them was really nice. And then my parents enjoyed connecting with other parents as well.
And do you remember before you went to any of the CBSA events, like the conference or anything like that, had you ever met anyone else with CBS?
No, before going to the events, I had never met anyone else with CVS.
And I know you were young. Do you remember what that felt like to meet someone that was going through the same thing as you did? You were?
Um, It felt really good to, like, meet someone else who had the same thing I had and that I could relate to and that they could relate to me.
Yeah, for sure. I'm sure that was definitely um, a good a good way for you to connect, and I'm happy your family was able to do that. And so, how do you feel as a whole that CBS impacted your life, even now? Like, do you feel like where you're at in your life, even now, was impacted by having CBS when you were a child?
Missing a lot of school in elementary school. Now it doesn't really impact my life as much because it's not nearly as severe as it was when I was a kid. Um, but I mean, I do still make sure that I am drinking enough water throughout the day and that I'm eating enough protein because like those things are triggers for my migraines. So like I try to avoid things that trigger my migraines and stuff. So
That's good that you're aware. What would you like people who don't understand CBS, excuse me, to know about living with CBS?
Um, I would like people who don't understand CVS to know that it's not something that um, people with CVS can, well, people with CVS can't really control it, and that people who have CVS aren't making themselves sick.
Those are both very good points. And if you had one word to describe CBS, what would it be?
Um, I would describe CVS as unpredictable. I know some people with CVS have episodes that are like clockwork, but mine were like not at all like that. So I never knew when I was going to have an episode. And even now, like I never know when I'm going to have a migraine. So they're kind of, yeah, it's just unpredictable.
That's a good word.